Excellent. All right, I'm gonna send a quick all right, hopefully they'll figure that out.
Bathroom. Yeah, bathroom.
Let me grab my cell phone in case somebody calls us. Okay. And let's see. Who else was with us? Shay, I think, was with us, wasn't she? Carla, do you know if anybody else was with us?
I feel like there was one more person,
You'll
but
have to unmute yourself. For some reason, I can't unmute you.
can you hear me?
Oh, wait a minute. I think that's my,
Yeah, I think Jessica and James were on, but I don't see them.
Jessica, that's who I was trying to think of. I knew there was somebody else on.
who now?
Jessica.
And James.
Yeah.
I couldn't think of her name all of a sudden.
Layla. In my bathroom.
1, 2, 3, 4. Carla, you live at school, don't you?
Well, we're actually living in a camper. So yes, it's easier to be at school. Tuesdays are my days. My mama picks up my kids and I can stay here as late as I need to. So
That's good.
but I was here Sunday too, all day.
I used to live at my school, but it's just easier than dragging it back and forth sometimes.
If we were back in our house, I'd be able to be there, but in a camper with a husband and 2 kids, there's no way for it to be quiet or anything. So
Is that from the hurricane?
yeah, from Florence.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. She was wicked.
yeah, we should get back in our house. We're thinking February or March. So it'll be like a good.
Oh, wow.
Gosh. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Sorry to hear that.
Thank you. We're making it though.
Yeah. All right. Well, hopefully they'll find where we are.
I just I sent them a text message and told them to look for the second Zoom link that you
Thank
emailed.
you. Thank you so much. Shay just started hers, and the first section,
Okay, there's Jessica.
okay, good.
Yeah.
Hey, Jessica.
Hey, y'all. James and Felicia are coming back in.
Very good. I'm sorry for that. Evidently, that first invitation went out from Dr. Sanders, and so I couldn't record it.
Oh, okay.
And I think it's going to be real important to have this session recorded because some of you may want to go back and listen to it once you get into the SIAP. And then if somebody isn't able to attend, I had told them that I would do this. First of all, I just want to tell you how excited I am because this is it. This is your last artifact. And that is super, super exciting. And if you want to know just how great it feels to have it done, just ask Rosalind. She's finished.
I'm done.
Overachiever.
Yeah.
And she aced it. And let's see, who else finished? Was it Dee? So, all right. All right, so I'm going to pull up some, I'm going to share my screen with you. And if you'll mute yourself so we won't have so much background noise, that would be good. Hey, Felicia. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen with you. Before I do that, let me give you the SIAP talk. And the SIAP is not a copy and paste assignment. I know that many of you were told that it is. It is not a direct copy and paste. It is copied from or taken from the information that you have in the other 5 artifacts. And you can copy that information and insert it into the SIAP. But the SIAP is a new document, and so you can't just directly paste it in there. So let me explain to you, if this was a real life situation that you have been doing these artifacts, if you were a real principal, how the SIAP would play into that. So your superintendent, your state department, they demand that you present them a school improvement plan. This is a plan for all facets of your school, how you're going to go from here to there. And so they're going to demand that you analyze every facet of your school and then come out with your final recommendations and say, okay, this is our plan. This is how we're going to do moving forward. Now, do they want to know how you came about that plan? What books you looked at? What literature you reviewed? Who you talked to? How many meetings you had? No. They want to know what you decided is the problem and what you're going to do to fix it. That is the SIAP. So you can't just copy and paste all of the APSL 1, 2, and 3 into the SIAP because they don't want to know why you chose the members of that team. They don't care. They don't want to know when you met. They don't want to know what the DuFours or what a learning community is or anything about the DuFours. They just want to know that y'all met, what you looked at, and what you decided. So keep that in mind as we move forward. So let me show you a few documents. This one. So your it freaks me out when I can't see you. Anyway, so your SIAP says, the template for the SIAP, let's look at it. It says right here, get your background information and description of the setting. But right here it says to go to APSL and pull task 1 through 3. Okay, so that's what I did.
Are you sharing a video?
I'm sharing my screen. Can you not see it?
No, ma'am.
Well, then I'm missing you for nothing. Let's try it again. Now you should be able to see it.
Okay.
All right. I don't know why that came up. Or that. Because I don't want your update. All right. Can you see it now?
Yes.
All right. So this is the template for the SIAP. You know how to do this, of course. You pick that up from the skip, and that's just the background information and the setting. But where it starts getting a little confusing is here. It says go to the APSL, pull task 1 through 3, and then add to that the EVOS data if it wasn't included in your original APSL, if you have it. So what people try to do is go to the APSL and copy task 1 through 3 and paste it into the SIAP. Well, that's about 20 pages right there. But in that 20 pages, it has all the information about the DeFores. It has all the information on the individual people in that committee and why you chose them. It has when you decided to meet, how you invited them, that you emailed your principal. You don't need any of that information. So let's look at, if you go to the APSA 1 through 3, this is what it has. In 1, it has the research, the selection, and the meeting. Now think about it. Out of all that information, which part of that information do you think needs to go in this final school improvement plan? The research piece? You have to talk to me, people.
No, not the research.
No, not the research. A general statement that says, we researched blah, 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 and concluded. But you don't copy all of your research. You can say, we looked at various methods for reading improvement, or whatever you did, but generalize it as opposed to copying that. All right, what about the selection process? Do they need to know that? No. Then you might can include the people on your committee if you want to, or you can say a committee of 8. And then the PLC meeting. Do they want to know, today we met and this is what we talked about and I presented that? No. They want you to generalize it. Our committee met 8 times. Our committee met 6 times. Or our committee met various times. We were presented with literature, data, and this is what we decided. Then you go on to task 2. Task 2 is the needs assessment, leading the PLC into that. So here you describe the data collection strategies. Are they going to need to know all of that? Probably. Most of that you will include, because that would make sense that you would explain how we came about determining that this was the problem. And then the data graphically presented, yes, they'll want to see that. And then down here, the third one, collaborative research in the area. Did they want all of your research literature review? One by one? No. They want to know generally, what did you look at? What did you decide? What was the most important for your situation? So you are not generating new information. So when we tell you that the SIAP is the easy one because you're not having to do anything, you are not bringing into it new information. You are using what you already have, but you are creating a totally separate and different document. Now I'm going to stop there for a second, and up to that point, do you have questions? We're going to keep going with it and talk more about it. But does what I just presented to you make sense? Give me thumbs up or thumbs down.
It does.
Okay, good, good, good.
Oh.
All right. So the entire SIAP, if you go through and copy and paste all of those sections that it says you're going to use, you're going to end up with 60 pages. And it's going to come right back to you from the evaluator saying, this is not the final school improvement document. So the main thing you're changing is your narrative. So you are using pieces of that information, putting it into a new discussion about a final plan. And it's that way throughout the entire document. Now, Rosalind was nice enough to let us look at hers. So I'm going to show you what it looks like.
Well, she's so nice.
Yes, she is nice.
That's our teammate.
There you go. That's what teams do. Can you see this? No. Forgot to share. All right. Okay. So this much, you know, you kind of get that. That comes from the skip. What I wanted you to see was the part that we just talked about. And that is right in here. Starts about right here, doesn't it, Rosalind? After analyzing the data, the team found. You see that? So she's got her discipline information. That came from the other document, right?
Yes.
And then here is where she started in from the APSL, I think. So she's got after analyzing the team found, and then she goes on and talks about that. Then she gives the student achievement test results. Where did she get that from? The APSL, the first part of the APSL.
I have a question.
Yes.
So since new data has been released, should we use the old data that we used in that or this year's data?
No, use what you don't start over.
Okay. Okay.
Because if you were doing it in real life, it would be within the same year. But we are teaching you, and what the state requires that we teach you is the process.
Right. Okay.
And so for that reason, that's why we're doing it this way. So
Okay.
no, use what is in the APSL.
Okay.
Just don't directly copy and paste it.
Got you. Okay.
All right. This came from the APSL. And I can't remember when the next one kicks in. Must be about right in here. Somewhere in here. And Rosalind, do you remember how many pages yours was?
I think it's like 105.
All right, so that's her final one. If she had copied everything in here, it'd be twice that long. Yours may be 50 pages. It depends on how much information you had in your other parts that you're copying from.
Yeah, I left all of that, like all of that background stuff they made us do, I left out. All that research, all the research stuff, the meeting stuff. I just took like basically the findings from the different meetings and put it in here.
Right. So what questions do you have?
So we don't have to have EVOS data if we don't have it. So do we need to substitute it for something else? Or, I mean, I have like end of course testing. That's the data I was using. Just keep using that?
Yes.
Okay.
I've never had one come back and because it didn't have EVOS, they just assume if you don't put it in there, you don't have it.
Okay.
Now, I may have told you this before, and I may have told you this before and you didn't listen. Imagine that. But this, when I rarely have, and like I said, I've been doing it a long time, but I rarely have I had a document come back from an evaluator saying that they need to work on it. But the ones that have come back have always been the SIAP. All right. Personally, there's no record of that if it does come back, and they'll tell you exactly what's wrong. But if you follow the logic that we're talking about, as far as think about what your purpose is, and your purpose is to present the superintendent with a total school improvement plan. So just think in that context. If you were really taking this to the superintendent, what details would you leave out, basically? Now, one of the things that helped some of my interns, it kind of depends on whether you go, just how your brain works, because this drives other people absolutely crazy. But I'm very right-brained, and for me, what worked was to copy the APSL 1 through 3, and then read through it and delete out from there, and then make sentences out of what was left. You know, that's the way it worked for me. And I have to color code stuff. So what a lot of my interns will do, they will take the template, leave it in black. It has in red already where you insert the different artifacts. So leave that red, and where it says APSL 1 through 3 in red, go out, copy APSL 1, 2, 3 through 3 all the way down, and paste it in there in blue. And you can do that everywhere there's an artifact. And then go back with the idea that I'm presenting an overall school plan of improvement to my superintendent. And just take that highlighter and start deleting the stuff that doesn't belong there. And then once you get that done with all your blue in APSL section, then go back and make sentences out of it, and make transitions, connect the information and all of that. Rosalind, was there anything you found that made it easier for you?
No, I did just that. I copied everything, and then I just went through and deleted stuff that I felt like wasn't there. But I was telling Carla that I did have to switch up some of my data because my principal made me. And some of the data that I had used, or some of the components of the APSL, I was missing some of the data for the component that I needed for the SIOP. And I did have to present it. So I did need to use real time data.
Right.
On mine. But yeah, I went through and deleted stuff that didn't apply. And that was it.
Okay.
Yeah. But I just used the template that you sent. And the hardest two were, I want to say 4 and 5, because it's asking for you to copy the cap, the one that you had to copy the cap, and it's so many pages with the cap, it seemed redundant. So then it was, what parts do I copy for this one and which parts do I copy for that one, so that it's not repeating. And then on my final, I went back and took the graphs out and just put them all in one at the end. Instead of them being 3 or 4, you just gotta watch it, because if you copy it like it is on that template, you'll have it the same thing in your paper 3 or 4 times.
Right. That's what you have to be careful about.
Yeah. If you copy it just like the template said, you'll have the same task in your final like 3 or 4 times, and then you have to go back through all those pages to see what you gotta delete.
Right.
Yeah.
So in the first portion where you copied the cap, do you remember which task there were, or were you supposed to have? Was it like half and half, or?
It says copy cap 1 through 4. I want to say that's what it was. And then when you get to that next one, it said to do the same thing, copy cap 1 through 4. So I just didn't recopy it because it was already there.
Right.
Okay.
doesn't it say copy cap 1 through 2 at the beginning as well?
Mhm. Yep. Yep. So what I did was, remember Felicia, when we was working, I was writing that stuff down.
Yeah.
So I wrote it all down. Like instead of looking at the template, I like took a piece of paper and wrote down what each task required me to write down or require me to copy. So then when I got to the next task, if it required me to copy something that I already had copied, I just didn't copy it again.
I see what you mean.
Gotcha.
You know what
So
I'm
you
saying?
went through the entire SIAP and everything in red. You jotted that down.
I put it down on that piece of paper. And then
that's
out beside it, I put like SIAP task 1, SIAP task 2, SIAP task 3. And then when I went back to make copies, I just scratched through it. So then I knew when I got back to SIAP task 3, I didn't need to put that in there because I already had put it in there. And that was easier for me because if not, like you're going in there, you're copying everything, then you're rereading, trying to figure out what you already have. And that's hard to do when it's so much that you're having to copy. So I went through that template and I wrote everything down, copy action plan, copy marketing plan, copy human and resources, whatever it was we had to copy. And then as I did the task, if it said APSO task 1, prompt 1 and 2, I copied that, and then everywhere that I had that, I scratched it out. So really by the time I got to task 5, it was only one little piece that I needed to copy and put over that I didn't have.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, Dr. G.
All right, so I'm going to share my screen with you and show you what, and I'll send this to you. So this is what you're talking about, right?
Right.
So this is everything in red from the template.
Right.
I just deleted everything else.
Mm-hmm.
So this is everything in red. So I can send this to you if that will help.
Yeah. So see how it says SIP task 1, prompt 1, but then when you go down, it says SIP task 1, prompt 1 again. I would scratch through that second one, but I would leave SIP task 1, prompt 2, because you don't have prompt 2
up there.
Yes, you do. It's at the top. So you just gotta look at it carefully, because then if you go to the 1, 2, 3, 4th line, it says this skip task 1, prompt 2. So then you wouldn't need it again, because within that first part, you've already put it in there. So then you could take that out. And then it says, like the second one says, APSO task 1 through 3. And where it says that somewhere else. So when you get to APSO task 1 through 3, that part also, if you copy that, it also is going to copy the action plan. So you won't need to copy that again in paragraph when you get down here to where, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In the 6th paragraph where it says again, be sure to include the human resources necessary for implementation, all of that. You wouldn't need to copy that part. You would just copy the actual plan, which was that template with like resources, timeline, all of that on there.
All right, so I'll send you that one.
Yeah.
So how about this? Going through SIAP, if we do the entire SIAP, it seems to me that it'll be easier than just trying to do the SIAP task by task and submit, piece by piece. So can we go through the SIAP with that outline and just submit and just put it in, delete, do what we need to do and submit the entire SIAP instead of just doing task by task?
You can do that if you will put in, for me, in big black letters, SIAP 1, and we're SIAP 2, and SIAP 3, and then you can go back and delete that. But if you don't do that for me, it takes me forever to try and figure out where one stops and another one starts, and to make sure you have everything in it.
Okay. And
So,
then after you tell us, give us feedback, then we just take out that big bold
exactly.
writing and then submit.
And I don't care, and some of you have done this already. If you do SIAP 1 and go ahead and start on 2, you can send that to me or upload that, and I'll look at 1, and you can continue working. Or you can hold it to the end, whatever, but I would think you'd kind of want me to look at it along the way to make sure that you're on the right track.
Okay.
Because I was working with somebody earlier today and it wasn't quite right, but as soon as I redirected, it was fixed and it wasn't a problem.
Okay.
So, but I just need to know where one stops and another one starts. Otherwise, it takes too long for me to try and figure it out.
Okay.
Okay. Any more questions about the SIAP? All right, I'm going to talk about the competency folio for just a few minutes, and then we'll go back to the SIAP, okay? My first question is, has Dr. Sanders mentioned anything about doing the School of Ed disposition? Or the I don't think, do you have to do competency analysis this time, did she say?
Yes.
Yes. So those two, when I went into task stream, they're already there. And
Yes.
you've done them before, and you know how to do them. So let's just go ahead and do those anytime you want to.
So I have a question. When our very first class, Dr. Lamb was going over them. He said one of them towards the end of the class, we was going to have to answer questions.
Okay. Some
Talk about
do and some
questions.
don't. It depends on which section you get. Some of them, when you're on that competency analysis, some get a form that has a drop-down menu with a narrative box. And so it will ask you, well, let's just look at it. Is that okay?
Yes.
All right, let's just go look at it. Quiet. Test stream.
Layla. Oh, I didn't even know you was over there.
So, oh, it's not going to let me look at it. Let me see if I can look at an old student's. Let me think of somebody that gave me permission.
Have you had a chance to go in there and look at what we had already, or any of the new stuff we've added?
I've looked at the old stuff. I haven't looked at the new stuff, and it looks great.
Okay.
And so I'm just about to start. I'd hoped to get started this week, but I didn't because I still have several people that are struggling with the CAP. But once I go in and look at yours, I'll give you, I've got a spreadsheet that I'll give you, and I just go in and check off everything that you have, but they look great. Let's try this one. All right, let's see if it'll let us look at this. No, it's not letting me look at it. All right, so
Is it gonna be under competency analysis?
here we go. Let's see. See, this is a year, it won't let me, yeah, well, here you go. All right, so what he was talking about was change management.
Mhm.
All right, you see this drop down menu right here and it says no answer specified?
Mhm.
You need comments right here.
Mhm.
And let's see, this is a different form too. This says by the evaluator or the portfolio manager. That's not you. But if you get a drop down menu like this and it's for you, it doesn't say evaluator or portfolio manager, it'll say candidate.
Mhm.
Then you just go to your competency folio
Mhm.
under change management and copy one of the narratives that you wrote, your last one,
Mhm.
put it here. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Or you can get it out of, the best place to get it's going to be at the end of,
The SIOP, what we just did.
yes, at the end of that, where you have to reflect
Yes.
on your growth in change management,
Yes.
and then you would copy that and paste it in there. But I haven't seen one that has that narrative Dropbox
Mhm.
in 2 semesters. So I think, because he told you that 3 semesters ago, right?
Yes.
And I think since then we've done away with that narrative Dropbox.
I was just looking at mine and mine doesn't have a narrative Dropbox.
Yes,
Okay,
thank you,
good.
Jesus. Okay, so if by chance you get to that point and it has a narrative Dropbox, call me and we'll do it together and we'll walk through it together. But there's no sense in muddying the water right now.
Okay.
All right. So you should be able to, at this point, you should be able to go back and, I mean, to go in and do your last things in here, which is going to be, I have to keep moving you out of my way. So it's over here. You're going to do the School of Ed disposition.
Mhm.
You're going to do the competency analysis.
Mhm.
This has to be reviewed by me before you can submit it.
What goes there?
That is your entire folio, competency folio.
So do we?
There's a video on how to do it.
Okay.
But Dr. Lamb's really big on making sure it's reviewed before it comes to him.
Okay.
But I mean, if he helped you set it up, it's going to be right. But so I'll review it. Then once I do that, I'll tell you where to find that video to upload it. And you will upload it to here. And you'll upload your all of your internship logs. Go here. He usually has a class towards the end where he, one of those group meetings
Mhm.
where he tells you how to upload your final competency folio and your internship log. So we don't want to do that but I talk to him every week, sometimes more often than my husband. But he'll tell us when he's ready for you to do that step. But this over here, you can do. The School of Ed dispositions, you can do. The competency analysis, you can do. The competency folio, you can add your final entries, but you don't upload it here yet.
And so for our final entries, you mean the things that we've done in this class, 605?
This semester, yeah. So like you've done yours,
Yeah.
but I haven't reviewed them yet. So that's
Okay.
the next step. And then once I review them, then I'll check with Dr. Lamb and ask him when he's going to let us upload them. And then he'll tell us exactly how to do it. And then I'll get back with you.
Okay.
All right. What questions do you have?
So what is the next step? Like after we've finished our work, all of our work, for the people in North Carolina, when does our stuff go to like state? What's our next step?
It doesn't go to the state until the end. At the end of the semester,
Okay.
Seth Osprey will have a form that you're supposed to fill out. You go online, you go to DPI, and you fill out the form and you upload your documents, but you have to have your final transcript.
Mm-hmm.
So until you've finished and have your final transcript, you can't get your license. However, you can be hired because you are licensed, you just don't have the license, right? So Seth will also, if you are, say, get a job offer, they will ask you for a statement from the college stating that you have completed all the qualifications and are in that process.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a form the university has to send. All right.
I have a quick question. And I may have pulled this from somewhere that's not true, but on the well, let me get back to it so I can see what I'm talking about. On the dispositions, if we mark ourselves exceeds expectations, do we have to write something in that narrative box?
Not that I know of.
Okay. I
Lamb said we did.
thought,
Yes.
okay. I kind of thought that was a long time ago.
Yeah, well, and see, the group that I just graduated, they didn't have a narrative box there on their forms.
Yeah. It's just in the disposition when it's not in the other one.
Narrative box. All right, I'll ask him about that tomorrow.
Okay.
And I'll go ahead and ask him about the competency analysis too, just to make sure that none of you are going to have a surprised box that pops up. And okay. And then I'll ask him when he's going to have that session with that video on how to upload your final document. Once you start working on the SIAP, if you can block off some time, it is a document, and you finished it, so correct me if I'm wrong, but this is not a document that you want to come and go with. As much time as you can spend, if you can block off a big chunk of time to get going with it, but if you do little pieces at a time, I'm afraid you're going to get confused. That's what's happened with people in the past. It's just more difficult. But if you have a bigger chunk of time and you can get started on it, once it starts rolling out, it'll make sense to you and it starts coming together. But do you think that's true?
Yeah, like I worked on it a couple of weeks, well, what was it, 2 weeks ago when we all met as a team. And then last week when I worked on it, I stayed up. It was a work night, but I stayed up to like 2 in the morning because once you get on a roll, it's hard to go back. So when I did stop, I was like trying to highlight where I stopped at in the paper. It was too much.
Right.
So when I finished it, I did like 3 papers just straight, 3 tasks straight, because it was too much.
But once this SIAP and the competency folio, all of that, it's just going to roll on out pretty quickly. How is your classwork coming?
I keep forgetting it's due on Friday. Like Friday at 5 is exceptionally hard. I'm just gonna lay it out there.
Yeah.
I agree.
I agree.
Well, we were told to focus on getting the CAP and stuff done.
Right.
And so that's what we did. And then I got an email, because I'm very verbal, so I'll say I got an email saying that I wasn't responding on time. And then also I got an email saying that like week 3, I didn't respond to posts, but I did. When I went back and looked at it, I had responded to both James and Felicia's posts. So I did email her, Dr. Sanders, and let her know that I did have 2 responses, but then I never received the email back. But I know like last week, I responded on Sunday because on Friday, it wasn't 2 different people to respond to. And we were told in the beginning to try to respond to different people, not the same people all the time. And then I was sick last week. So
Who said
I
you're
don't know.
getting sick?
I was sick last week. So I did my discussion post, but then I responded to the other 2 on Sunday, so I didn't get credit because it wasn't on Friday.
Well, I know she's working real hard to keep track of them and stay on top of them.
Yeah, I got an email saying I had 12 out of 30 points. So I'm like not happy with that, but that's all on me, not on anybody else.
All right. Well, if there's
Yeah.
any way I can help you with any of that, I don't have a copy of it, but if there's something that you're having trouble with, then I can help you. Okay.
Life.
We have,
Let me come take care of your children.
There's more work.
that's it. That's it.
Is that
Come
it?
on.
If you can figure out work, it would be okay.
Yeah, that's what you're going to put on my evaluation is she did not keep my children, nor did she teach my class. All right.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I know I'm like Carla. I know I didn't get all of my points. But at the time I felt like the submitting the evidence was going to be more important than the discussion. So I had to prioritize. So prioritizing had me where I was going to miss a few points. And I did speak with her, and I told her that I hadn't responded. I want to go back and respond. I guess that doesn't matter.
1908 Hillsborough.
We're going to do our best to respond. And I don't know. I just thought that the major part was getting the SIAP and the CAP done.
Right. I know, and it's hard, and it,
What's in the past? Yeah.
yeah, it changes from semester to semester too. But it seems like for me, you're all kind of catching up and getting to the point. I'm really worried about that CAP, but once we get the CAP in, the SIAP will roll out fairly quickly, and then you should be able to catch up on your other. But just communicate with Dr. Sanders and let her know where you are and things, okay?
Dr. Z, could you look at my last one?
It came in today, didn't it?
No, about 2 days ago.
Last night, before I went to bed last night, I had done everything. Which one was it?
Oh,
I don't remember seeing it last night. Was it CAP 4? All right, as soon as we finish up here, I'll look and see.
Yeah, and can I get some feedback on mine as well, 3 and 4?
And you have, where, is it in there?
It's in the cap review area.
When did you put it in?
Sunday.
I can't believe, wait, let me look at it without sharing the screen, okay?
I mean, that's fine. Just,
Because it should be done. I've been doing it every day.
yeah, I just haven't gotten any, like, it looks good, or add this, or check this, or anything like that. So
Hang on just a second, let me see what's going on.
I just want to fix it if I need to fix it.
Yeah, but you should have, is what I'm saying. I don't know why you don't have it. Let me look. Can we have some Jeopardy music?
Hey, look, turn that down some.
James,
All right. Jeopardy view.
we don't hear you, James. No, we don't hear you.
Yeah, Carla, yours is here, but it hasn't been, I promise you, it was not here last night, but it says here it was.
Okay, yeah, because I've got 3 and 4 in there. The only thing I need to do is we did have our SIT meeting last night.
Yeah.
So I need to add that piece, just the evidence that I presented it, but that's the only thing I think I have left to do.
All right, and Karen, yours was 4. Let me see. Yeah, James, Karen, and Carla. That is unreal.
Thought
It
maybe
says
you
that,
were out of town.
huh? No, I looked, I've been going in. That's crazy. All right, hang on. I really apologize. I don't know what happened. But I've looked at it morning, afternoon, and night is usually when I look at it. And, just a minute. And for some reason, those didn't show up until just now. They're in bold now, so they're there. I apologize, but I'll get those done right now. So is there anybody else? Carla and Karen, you're the only ones? I'll do yours right now. Yeah. Wait, I can't hear you. There you go. I still can't hear you.
Oh, goodness, James.
How about now?
Good.
All right, you hear me now?
I can.
You can't? I can.
Yes, I can.
Okay, were you able to see my final submission? Because you were saying I did not have the, I guess, assessment at the very end. You couldn't tell when the CAT 4 started. And at
Yes.
the very end of the paper, I did have that assessment. Was that not sufficient?
Yes, that was right. The only thing that I noticed on yours was you didn't go back and separate facilities and resources, did you?
I did. Mm-hmm.
I saw it separated at one place, but there was another place I didn't think it was separated.
Okay, that could be true. I only separated one. I have to go back and look through.
Yeah,
That's
no,
right.
it was like, it was back. It may have even been CAP 3. It may have
Yeah.
been.
It was up further. That's right. Okay, I forgot about
Yes.
that. Okay.
Yay, I just said right.
Okay. All right, I'll go do that.
But yes, you're good to go with that.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Okay. All right. So again, Karen and Carla, I apologize, and I will get on that right now. And anybody else? All right. Well, I will say good night, and please check in with me if you get going and it makes sense right now. But if it doesn't make sense when you start rolling it out, feel free to give me a call, send me an email, text, whatever. I'll be out more than in tomorrow, but I can, if you text me, so I may not be at my laptop going into Blackboard, but if you text me and tell me it's there, then I'll go in and look for it. as soon
Can
as
you give us your number again? I don't know where I wrote it down at last time.
It is 704-773-3693. And if you forget, ask Felicia, she's got it memorized. I'm going to speed out. No, just because we have to talk about children. All right. So y'all have a great night.
Thank you so much.
So
Night.
welcome. All right. I'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.